That old devil moon.
Message from Starfleet, sir.
On screen, Lieutenant.
The Enterprise will proceed to the Alpha Proxima system. While the indigenous race on Proxima 3 has not reached a technological level commensurate with entering the Federation, and therefore under the protection of the Prime Directive of non-interference, we do maintain a discrete monitoring satellite. It has picked up activity from an asteroid in an elliptical orbit. You are to investigate without interfering with life on the planet.
According to the library computer, the Alpha Proxima system has 5 planets and an asteroid belt. A large asteroid is heading towards the inner planets and should pass close by Proxima 3. It passes through the interior of the system once every 200 years. The people of Proxima 3 call it Scythe, the same name as their god of war.
God of War, Mr. Spock? Isn't that a bit surprising from a people whose technology matches 20th century Earth?
Considering the level of warfare during that century, I'm surprised that it is Earth that did not have a god of war. In any case, about a millennium ago, Proxima 3 suffered a globally devastating war.
Blew themselves back to the Stone Age, Mr. Spock?
Late Bronze Age, Ensign. They rebuilt their world in half the time it had taken to get there originally. But the Armageddon was mythologized as a battle between the Sophs and Lucas. In that war, the planet was razed, and all the gods died except Scythe. He had rained fury down upon the world, then went off on a long dance of victory. His return is a time for worldwide soul-searching and atonement.
And Scythe returns and our monitoring station picks up activity.
It would seem that we should proceed to Alpha Proxima and scan Scythe.
Entering standard orbit.
A sensor scan of Scythe reveals surface features consistent with damage left by a nuclear attack. It would seem to have been a target during Proxima's war.
Scythe rained fury down on the planet and then left on a dance of victory. A missile base, Captain?
It would seem to make sense.
Captain, I just monitored a narrow beam message from Scythe to Proxima 3. I don't have it all. I just caught a bit of the initial burst. I'm attempting a translation, but it appears to be a computer code.
Any response from the planet?
The Proxstrites will not have the equipment necessary to understand and reply to that code for another 25.6 years at their present rate of development. Still translating, Captain. Still translating, Captain. I suggest we beam down, sir. The surface is hostile, but survivable for a short time.
Spock, come with me. Mr. Scott, you have the car.
Captain, Mr. Scott wishes to speak with you.
Mr. Scott?
Aye, we've had some slight problems with the transporters.
We didn't notice anything beaming down.
Just a glitch in the main transporter program. Mr. Kyle is loading a backup and we're performing tests. The transporters will be down for about an hour.
That will still give us plenty of time, Scotty.
I know. I have the lads in engineering doing a complete overhaul of the ship's systems.
Good, Mr. Scott. I'll keep you posted. Kirk out.
Aside from the security door on what should be a lifeless planetoid, this place is unremarkable.
The atmosphere is breathable, Jim, but hardly nourishing. We should either get inside or go back to the ship.
Area secure, Captain.
I cannot get readings from this range, Captain. But if we do not hurry, there will be nothing left to get a reading on.
This is the planet Proxima, currently 600,000 kilometers from this moon.
Unremarkable except for low-grade power emanations from the door area. The rocks have a high quantity of triphosphorus silver in them. Large quantities of atmosphere are being circulated through these rocks. I would guess there are storage units within this satellite which are constantly replacing the atmosphere that is lost because of this moon's weak gravity.
Which means that this moon might still be inhabited, Mr. Spock.
We have detected no signs of life, Captain, but the possibility does exist.
It's what I was afraid of, Jim. The thin atmosphere of this moon doesn't provide enough protection from cosmic rays. We shouldn't stay here any more than a few hours.
James T. Kirk worried about the safety of the people of Proxima. Dr. Leonard McCoy, knowing that they aren't likely to encounter any medical problems, is rather annoyed about being dragged yet again into the transporter. Ensign Mosier seems to be rather curious about the planet's technology. Mr. Spock looks forward to examining the technology of this ancient culture.
Captain, I'm afraid we got a wee problem here.
What is it, Scotty?
There is some sort of virus in the main computer. Our phasers and tractor beams have been disabled, and there's no way we're getting them back in 3 hours.
There goes our backup plan. Do what you can, Mr. Scott.
Aye, I will, Captain. I may yet have a trick or two that I can pull, but don't count on any miracles.
Isolate that virus. That's your number one priority.
That it is, Captain. We'll keep you informed. Scott out.
The origin point for the broadcast to Uhura Monitor was approximately 50 meters beyond this door.
This door is huge. If they were humanoid, they could have been giants.
From what we know about the Lucars, they had an affinity for size. Their machines weren't just equipment, they were also monuments.
I can believe that.
We should stay inside as much as possible. We must try to protect ourselves from the cosmic radiation.
Well, we won't be able to phaser any outbound missiles.
It appears that our mission has increased in importance. It would be useless, Captain. The door could easily withstand our phaser fire.
I'm just a security officer, sir.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a locksmith.
The door still appears to be in operating condition. There is power running to the keypad. Working display panel, Captain. This appears to be a dust-covered lens of some sort.
Your situation, Mr. Scott.
We're still looking for the virus, Captain. I even have Lieutenant Uhura looking through the computer system. I never realized the last was so good with them.
Check her record, Mr. Scott. She was in the top 10% of her class in computer systems analysis.
We'll find that virus soon, Captain, or I'm an Englishman.
Just do your best, Scotty. Kirk out.
That did not seem to work, Captain. Perhaps we should try a number that had some significance to them. Remember, they were very superstitious.
Very superstitious.
That did not seem to work, Captain. That did not seem to work, Captain. Perhaps we should try a number that had some significance to them. I see you deduced that 10200 in the Lucas Base 3 was equal to their sacred number 99.
It never ceases to amaze you how passive Spock can be, even in the presence of extraordinary wonders. Ensign Mosier is glad to be a member of this landing party, at least for now. James T. Kirk, a man with a problem, a big problem that is getting bigger. McCoy is examining himself for cosmic radiation sickness symptoms.
Report, Scotty. How are things going?
About as badly as a killed in a blast furnace, Captain. Wait a minute. Lieutenant Uhura has some news for you.
The virus came from our sensor sweep of the moon's computers. We believe we have analyzed the memory sectors it attacked.
Well done, Uhura.
I wish I could take credit for it. It was Mr. Kyle who found the pattern. We are attacking it with antivirus programs.
Computer science sounds more like medicine every day.
If we had a doctor as good with computers as you are with patients, we'd be having a lot fewer problems.
Finally, someone who appreciates me.
Keep working at it, Uhura. Kirk out.
Ensign Mosier is scanning the area for potentially hostile life forms. McCoy wishes this place was less technological. James Kirk, the burden of command is quite heavy at times. Spock looks at the equipment and raises an eyebrow.
The door will easily withstand our phasers, Captain.
We appear to be in some type of security lock. No defensive systems are apparent here, but considering the size of the doors, they probably don't need them.
This place does seem to provide protection against cosmic rays.
I don't see why they bothered putting an atmosphere here, Captain. There hasn't even been bacteria here in centuries, let alone humanoids.
The Lucres did not seem to have a problem with security.
My tricorder is picking up large supplies of frozen oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide beneath the surface, enough to last many centuries.
At least we won't have to worry about suffocating.
A computer terminal, Captain. It uses the Lucre alphabet. I think I can decipher it. This door is similar to the one on the outside of the secure lock, except that it has not weathered over the years. Electrical panels indicate the keypad on the right controls the door. This keypad is fully functional and controls the door. Its entry code is in base 3.
I think Mr. Spock would have a better idea of how to operate that, Captain. I'm just a security officer, sir.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a surgeon, not an alien computer science specialist. I think Spock would have a better chance at cracking that, Jim.
The console reports the following. Welcome to Orbital Missile Base. Codename Scythe. This base has been operational for the past week. It has completed one successful fire mission. Estimation of success is at 22 over 100.
22%? That's very low. Hardly something to brag about.
Doctor, in base 3, 22 divided by 100 is equivalent to 8 out of 9, or 88%. I would think that quite satisfactory, given this base's probable mission of destroying the soft forces on Proxima.
It says the base has been operational for a week, but this has been here for 1,000 years.
If the Lucres built this base with a clock that told the time by measuring the moon's rotational speed, or the gravitational forces generated by Proxima and the sun, the computer may have calculated only a week of time has passed since its first action. I might be able to learn more with another look at the console. There is a substantial amount of data here, but in summary, Scythe was created by the Lucres as a launching platform for missiles to keep the Softs subjugated to their influence. The Softs managed to infiltrate the base. However, their actions triggered Scythe's auto-attack mechanisms and initiated a holocaust that nearly annihilated the planet. One soft strike did, in fact, hit the moon and deflected it from its orbit. It has been dormant since then.
So why has the base been activated again?
Given the damage to the moon, its slow rotation and orbit, it has never realized the war is over. On this pass, for the first time, it has detected radio wave transmissions from Proxima. Because it does not recognize them, it assumes the Softs are still active. Its transmission to the planet, I would assume, was some sort of a check beacon to see if it should continue its mission.
Jim, let's return to the ship and blast this place to destroy its weapons.
Doctor, this moon is a god to the people down there. If we destroy it, we will violate the Prime Directive.
Spock is right, Bones. Spock, what are the chances that we could decode the transmission and send a stop code to the base?
In trinary or decimal?
Spock!
1.327 million to 1. Provided the archaeological studies about Lucre's languages are correct. Our other option is to get into this base and see if we can bring the computers down. That did not work, Captain. It is probable this lock also uses a number of some significance. Fascinating. If the Federation language studies were correct, the ideograph for the word scythe in the Lucre's language is the 17th symbol in their alphabet that corresponds with 122 in base 3.
Captain, we have a cure for the computer virus.
Well done, Uhura.
I modified Cuthrell-C to exclusively attack the Lucre virus. They annihilated each other, Captain.
Fascinating, Lieutenant.
The Klingons aren't going to be happy to learn that they helped us. How about the phasers and tractor beams?
We may get the tractor beams online in time, Captain. I'm afraid even the backup phaser transmission codes were affected. We could destroy some missiles manually, but if this complex decides to launch more than 10 missiles at a time...
Understood. The ball is in our court. We'll give it our best shot. Kirk out.
No change, Captain. Any progress on the planet?
We're making our way through. Keep your fingers crossed, Lieutenant.
Captain, we'll help you all we can.
Right now, I'll take anything that works. Kirk out.
Captain, the door is heavily shielded. Our phasers will have a negligible effect. Captain, if you destroy the lock, there will be no way to open the door. Please allow me to concentrate, Captain.
When I retire from Starfleet, I'm going to write one heck of an autobiography.
Fascinating, Doctor. I look forward to reading it.
But that way I can finally get someone to listen to me.
At least the Enterprise is safe.
Unless the computers decide to send more powerful viruses to the Enterprise.
Then we're just going to have to prevent that.
This machinery is incredible! Are all your landing missions this much fun? I might never leave this place. I don't think a hand phaser is going to cut through that, sir. I don't think my phaser will do a lot of good, sir.
Can't say I like the decor.
The Lucres did not leave behind many examples of their architecture.
I can see why.
Looks like a museum piece to me, Captain.
This is one heck of a museum, Ensign.
Still a mess, though.
You're right. This is a mess.
Why was I even brought down on this mission, Jim? I'm a doctor, not a welder.
This technology is cruder and less efficient than the rest of the complex, Captain.
What do you want me to do with it, sir?
He looks at you with a...
The drill is unremarkable, except its aiming component is corroded and frozen in place. These are display panels for the laser drill. They are still functional. This is the laser drill's control panel. It is functional and power is flowing to it. These are display panels for the laser drill. They are still functional. Unlike the surface rocks, the ore here is unremarkable.
This room looks like it was once used for some type of mining operation. Ensign Mosier scouts for signs of trouble, as well as glancing at the great-looking laser drill. Mr. Spock puzzles over the illogical design of some of these circuits. Dr. McCoy again wonders why he even came along.
Captain, the machine requests the proper coordinates before it may perform this operation.
As soon as this mission is over, Ensign Mosher is going to write his sister, who serves on board Pegasus Science Station, and gloat about everything he's seen. So far, this mission has been boring from a medical standpoint. Spock, deep in thought, analyzes the Lucre computers. James Kirk seems relieved by the good news from his ship.
Good news, everyone.
This panel has a slot in it rather than a keypad. The slot bears traces of triphosphorus silver, and power is currently running to it. I am recording the pattern of this lock into my tricorder. Captain, with the 3K AG content of the surface rocks and the tricorder scan of the pattern inside the lock, I believe the laser drill can be used to fashion the ID card needed to open this door. I used the keycard pattern scanned from the lock to program the drill. It should now be able to make a template of the keycard in the rock.
Spock, why don't you check out those laser drill controls?
This appears to be the brain of Scythe. There are two identical but isolated computers that communicate with a third, which controls the launch of missiles.
Computer consoles do not take well to phasering. Sparks fly. In a defensive maneuver prompted by this attack from within, the base launches a full spread of nuclear missiles at the Enterprise. History will not be kind to you. Better luck next time. Load a previously saved game. These instruments of war make Spock uncomfortable, but he says nothing. Captain James T. Kirk, fingering his communicator, wonders if anything else is happening aboard his ship. Ensign Mosier awaits orders. Dr. McCoy takes several deep sighs and closes his eyes. This door is marked with a radiation hazard symbol. Missiles of death and destruction. The Lucre believed that you could never have enough of them. This computer is marked with the first letter of the Lucre alphabet. This computer is marked with the last letter of the Lucre alphabet.
These warheads are not a very efficient delivery system, Captain.
Who needs efficiency when the end of the world is everywhere around here?
Curb your emotions, Doctor. They serve no constructive purpose here.
There's nothing constructive about this place, Spock. It's an obscenity.
I don't have anything to say right now, Bones.
No intruders, Captain. I think everyone died a long, long time ago. I wonder what caused it.
For people with emotions, Ensign, there are many things that can cause hatreds. And each new hatred breeds more hatred and makes the path of peace harder to find.
It's easy to say when you're not involved personally, Mr. Spock. But when people have treated you like a second-class being because you were different, hate can become the only thing they can't take away from you. That is what started most of the firestorms of history.
Well, gentlemen, here's one fire we can put out. Let's go to work.
I wish I hadn't seen any of this.
Sometimes it's useful to confront the dark side of our nature, that which we might become.
This computer is functional and performing an average 0.75 million operations per second. This computer is functional and performing an average 1.2 million operations per second. This computer directly controls the missile launch system. There is no way to interface with it directly, but the other two computers are accessible. This computer cannot be accessed directly. It is controlled by the other two computers.
Welcome to Side Operations Center, Omega Unit. Estimated time to optimal launch range is 1.31 hours adjusted. Welcome to Side Operations Center, Alpha Unit. Estimated time to optimal launch range is 3.21 hours adjusted.
Captain, something is wrong with the computers. They may be twins, but they are not identical.
It appears they are out of sync, Captain. I have to assume the Alpha unit has a virus, which is using up an incredible amount of computing time.
They report different optimum launch times, which is right.
Given the elliptical orbit and the range at which they will pass Proxtree, the Omega unit is correct, but the window is very narrow. A variation of minutes will mean the missiles run out of fuel and fall harmlessly into the sun.
Can you reprogram the Lucas computer to give us that time, Mr. Spock?
Reprogramming an old alien computer is not simple, Captain. The odds against success are 10,221 to 1 against.
Too bad old Omega here couldn't just take a sick day and miss the firing.
Because the two machines are isolated, the virus did not spread from one to the other.
If we could only bridge them.
The connector snaps into place.
Welcome to Side Operations Center, Omega Unit. Estimated time to optimal launch range is 1.54 hours adjusted.
The launched missiles will run out of fuel before they reach Proxtree. They will drift into the sun and burn up.
Kirk to Enterprise, how are the transporters, Scotty?
They're operational again, Captain. We're ready to bring you back at any time.
Bring us home.
Message from Starfleet.
On screen, Lieutenant.
We have read your report on the problems at Proxima 3 and evaluate your performance at 89%. You and your crew received 3 commendation points. The top brass at Starfleet are impressed. Outstanding work, Jim.
Hard to believe that Earth came so close to the brink itself.
Vulcans, too. Both, in the end, looked into the abyss and came to the only logical conclusion.
Logic? Humans? I'm dreaming, Jim.
Sometimes it is harder and braver to make peace rather than war.
Sounds like emotion had its part to play in a positive sense, too.
I don't know about you, but I'd like to bid an emotional goodbye to Alpha Proxima myself.
Take us out of orbit, Mr. Silver.